You're watching the Browns Report by Chat Sports, and we've got tons of Browns rumors, quarterbacks, coaching staff, all of it, I'm sure the Browns fans will want to know. So before we dive into all the questions that you guys want to answer, I need all the Browns fans to unite on X/Twitter, whatever you're calling it nowadays. I'm there at Joey070. My goal is to get 1,000 followers. We just got over 500 the other day. Shout out to you guys. I need everybody that's a Browns fan to get with me on Twitter. I tweet all the time about the Cleveland Browns. Lots of fun content, lots of stuff maybe you don't see on the show. So if you want to get exclusive access, go to Joey070 and help me out here. Help me win some Twitter arguments, okay, against the people that are being mean to the Browns, let's put it. Okay, back me up. Browns fans unite. Follow me on X/Twitter. First question, super chat we've got for today is from Geo Dit with the $5. Thank you, my friend. Todd Monken has to make a decision on Jim Schwartz fairly quickly. He can't allow Jim Schwartz to hold him up in building his staff. The combine is 3 weeks away. Great point here by Geo. Mary Kay did report that this needs to come soon as well. You're seeing DC candidates that would be top candidates taken off the board left and right. Raheem Morris got hired by the Niners. Jonathan Gannon got hired by the Packers. Anthony Weaver went to Baltimore. Great hire for them, unfortunately for us. The top candidates are off the board. Jim Schwartz is kind of leaving us in limbo here. Let us know, man. Are you coming back or not? At this point, whatever you decide, I'm okay with, but you got to let us know so we can move forward here and build this staff. Tell us if you're all in or not. Totally agree with you, Geo. We'll see what happens with Jim going forward. Next, Cade Baker. Thoughts on Andrew Barry and Jimmy both indicating that they are looking for a quarterback. I think it's pretty clear they don't think they have QB1 on the roster currently. Well, I wouldn't say they flat out said we're not going to go with anyone that's on our roster right now, but they did say they're going to explore all options. They're going to look externally. They're going to look at the guys that they have. That includes Shedeur Sanders. So I hear what you're saying, Cade. They don't sound committal to anyone on the roster, and fair enough. We can't look at the numbers and say that any quarterback absolutely proved they earned the job, but I do think Shedeur Sanders showed the most flashes of the guys on the roster, and he'll be in the mix. He'll be in this quarterback battle in training camp, and he has a real shot to win it and develop under Coach Todd Monken, who likes quarterbacks that play like Shedeur Sanders and scramble and use their legs. So I do think, yes, for the football team's sake, you should explore everybody that is an option. But there's a chance you ultimately find Shedeur is the best option because there's such a lack of free agent targets and draft options at the quarterback position this year. But good question from Cade Baker there. Next up, we've got Prime Fan. Did you see Skip Bayless said Shedeur needs to start? That is the good question, actually, Prime Fan. I did see Skip talking about this again. Here we do have the quote from him. He said, Shedeur will win this job. He should be the starter, and he is the answer. He's got a great chance, and he showed you everything he showed you. He's the answer. Skip Bayless very adamant about Shedeur Sanders being a franchise quarterback and should be our starter. And did you hear what Shedeur said the other day? Told Kay Adams, I proved to myself I'm able to dominate the league. I think that is the one thing about Shedeur, his confidence. That is a quality and his leadership ability that you would love if he's the franchise quarterback because he would take it to new heights with that confidence. And I like Skip's point about winning the job, right? Because I think, like I alluded to at the top of the show, it's not his guaranteed right now. And Shedeur said that as well. He says, I got to go out there and prove it this offseason, and I will because I have reps. We didn't see enough to be like, boom, you're the starter. No, nobody else should be in contention. But there's a ton of factors that need to be fixed on the Browns offense. Like, nobody's looked good in this system. The offensive line's terrible. Shedeur at least showed us the most flashes and explosive plays. And to my point, his confidence, Joe Flacco talked about this at the Pro Bowl. He was like, you could just see it, how much he believes in himself. That is the characteristic of a good leader. And it would be a dream for the Browns if he's their guy. a 5th-round pick on a rookie deal turns out to be your franchise quarterback? Like, dream. We've been looking for it for decades. And Shedeur said, I'm the guy you've been looking for. Man, I love the kid a lot. I really hope it is him. But we're going to need to see some more, and I'll be excited about it if he wins this quarterback battle in training camp and can get the start next season. But that's what Skip thinks. That's what I think. What do you think? Should Shedeur start in 2026? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Let me know in the comments section a Y or an N if Shedeur Sanders should be the Browns starting quarterback in 2026. Comment the letter down below. Let me know what you guys think on the matter. Next up, let's go to Micah. Hashtag Browns, would you be more comfortable with someone like Banda, who wants to bring Cleveland, unlike Schwartz? Wants to be in Cleveland, I would imagine? Yeah. Micah, I think promoting from within Banda, your safeties coach, or Tarver, the linebacker coach, is the easiest solution to Jim Schwartz leaving. If you don't get like top DC candidate, which, like I said, pretty much all of them are off the board right now. I made a video a couple days ago with the top DC candidates, so go and check that out if you haven't already. Perhaps Sean McDermott is a candidate for Cleveland. But I think that's the easiest solution because Monken says he doesn't want to touch that side of the ball. He wants the system to stay the same. The players are built to be in that system, and he's going to let them do what they want to do. So a guy that's been in the system since 2020 like Tarver or since 2023 like Banda makes the most sense to just give him the nod here and keep things looking as similar as can be and keep morale up a little bit too. The guys wanted to play for Jim. I think they would be able to rally around guys they've worked with the past couple years like a Banda. So good take here by Micah. Next, let's go to Jake Heath. Hashtag Browns trade Schwartz. Now, here's an interesting concept for the Browns. And what's funny is, could it start to unfold this way? Because, as I mentioned, the lack of options right now of top DC candidates is a reality. Schwartz, for the trade to be possible, would have to suck it up and stay on the Browns roster, stay under contract, not take another job, not be let out of his contract, and then Cleveland, during the season, can trade the DC for a draft pick. I don't think it's as likely of a scenario. I think you figure this thing out now. You say, because then what? You go through all of your process with a DC that isn't going to be on the roster. I think that is more likely a down-the-road scenario. Cleveland figures out who they're rocking with this year. If it is Jim Schwartz, if he does elect to come back and not whine about his contract and getting out of it, then the only way this becomes a scenario is if the Browns get off to a bad start offensively and he requests a trade or something like that, talks to management and says, listen, I really just don't want to be here. Just trade me. That's how it would happen. But for the time being, I think Monken's going to look for an answer. He's going to say, hey, man, we got to get this show on the road. Are you in or are you out? And we're going to get an answer and move on, whether he's here or not, with the players that they got, the ballers that they have on the defensive side of the ball. Plenty more to talk about here for the Cleveland Browns, but let's talk about today's sponsor. That is PrizePicks. The big game, it is almost here. And there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. I love this app. It's a lot of fun. I win money. And since I can't watch my favorite team anymore for a while, I want a way to stay entertained during these games, have something to root for. PrizePicks helps me do that. Missing your fantasy team? My league is already over, but with PrizePicks, I don't have to wait until next year's draft to keep playing fantasy. PrizePicks lets you play fantasy football every week, even in the playoffs. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections. Every week, no draft required. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. I've got a lineup as I always do. Drake May, more than half a passing touchdown, and Drake May, more than half a passing yard. PrizePicks giving us that awesome deal. JSN, more than half a touchdown in the big game. And Ramondre Stevenson, give him the less on his rushing yards. You can make lineups just like this if you download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Skyotic Thoughts wants to know, if our Browns go 1-16, does Haslam finally give up on Berry? Hashtag believe land. I like that one. There'd be no excuse not to. Sciotic thoughts. If we go 1-16 and you keep this GM, get him out of here. No excuse. A lot of people think Berry should have been fired already last season, and if he was fired, I wouldn't have said what a bad idea. I would have been like, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, the Watson deal he was a big part of. Okay? And 2025 saved his job. I think if we didn't have the draft class we had last year, Berry would have been gone with Stefanski. They got extended at the same time. Jimmy elects to keep Berry and get rid of Stefanski. If we lose again because of the holes on our roster, yeah, giving up time. Totally see that happening. But Jimmy might make some more excuses, say, well, the Watson deal's finally over. Not many quarterback options. Let's give Berry one more try. We'll see. But don't worry. That's not going to happen. We're going to be better next year than we were this year because Todd Monken's in the building to revamp this offense. Go to Robert Colbert. What are we going to do about the special team coach? Special team is a complete disaster. I would fire everyone. Well, I got some great news for you. Bubba is no longer a Cleveland Brown. The Rams have signed Bubba Ventrone to be their special teams coordinator. So, anybody that we get is an upgrade. In the league, reporters, I got to get on them about this because I saw multiple people tweet that Bubba is one of the NFL's best. They did not watch this Brown special teams. They are not ball knowers about the Cleveland Browns like you and me that actually watched the games. Bubba was a joke. Even Stefanski didn't take Bubba with him. That's how bad it was. He took Tommy Reese, though. Wait till Falcons fans see how a Stefanski and Reese-led offense works out. But he wouldn't even take Bubba. So, Kathy, Monken, going to find a guy that he likes. Harbaugh already took the Ravens special teams guy, so unfortunate there. But I have confidence that whoever he brings is going to be better than Bubba Ventrone was last season. And we're also going to get an elite returner this season because Cleveland, what were they doing? After Carter got hurt, we had Jerome Ford returning kicks and Gage Larvidan, who looks like he's going to fumble it every time he tries to catch it. That's going to be a big priority, and it should be. So I'll be crashing out if they don't change that up and get someone else returning football. So good question from Robert. But while we're talking about Browns players, I want you guys to tell me who your favorite Browns player of all time is. Let's do this. This will be a fun one. Your favorite Cleveland Browns player of all time. Get in the comment section. Let me know. Drop some names. Let's get nostalgic, or you can get recent if you like the players on the recent roster. I wouldn't be mad at you if you said Myles Garrett. I know some people are going to say Shedeur as well. Let me know your favorite Browns player of all time in that comment section. And feel free to date yourself on who you've went back and watched. Mike Nintendo making it into the mailbag. What are the odds of O-line being heavy draft for the Browns? I would say 90% chance, Mike, that they go O-line heavy in this draft. And if they don't, then they don't know what they're doing. Or this draft is just not as great for O-line. But I guarantee you early picks will be used on the offensive line. And because of their cap space, trouble that they're in at the moment, I think a lot of it's going to have to come from the draft. So they'll go heavy on it. They absolutely should. It was the biggest issue for the Browns, and I also think it's the quickest way to rebuild this Browns team is to fix the big boys up front. 4 of the day one starters are free agents, and the 5th one's DeJuan Jones. You need new linemen, okay? That's going to be the Browns' biggest focus, and it'll just make things easier for everybody on offense, especially, at the very least, if Shedeur plays like he did last year, at the very least, if we had a run game, we'd be competitive. Shedeur was the team's leading rusher in most of his starts. If we had a beefed-up O-line, and that would do wonders for Quinshon Judkins, we'd be able to be competitive running the football and playing defense. So fix the line, and then if Shedeur had time to throw, you'll get more deep shots as well. Ninja Cow, do you think we are going to be done with Watson officially after June or whatever? Well, Ninja, I think Watson's going to be on the roster in 2026. I hate to tell you. He's going to be on this roster. I see him as a veteran backup option, but watch the Browns shock the world and start Watson again. Because fact of the matter is, he's never been healthy and not the starter for the Browns. And Haslam said it's up to Monken what he wants to do with Watson. So Watson will be in the quarterback battle in training camp, and if he wins it, he'll play football again for Cleveland. I think if you ask me right now, today, February 4th is when we're filming this, 2026, I'd tell you Shedeur's got the best shot of being the starter. But this training camp battle is actually going to mean something this time. We're not going to be lied to, I hope, like last year when we were told it was a battle and then Shedeur didn't get any reps, right? I think this year it's an actual battle. Watson and Shedeur are both in the mix. And it's up to Coach Monken if he wants to go with these guys or bring in someone else that he likes, like a Malik Willis, or trade for an Anthony Richardson. You know, he likes those type of scramble quarterbacks. So that's where you're at. And Shedeur and Watson would actually fit that mold as well. So I think they'll be in this mix. It's can we get enough out of them? I think we will. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you follow me on X, like I said, at Joey070. Help me out. Browns fans unite. Get on over there. Give me a follow. Appreciate you all so much for being here with me. You guys are the best. And if you want to be part of videos like this, ask me questions on Twitter and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you pretty soon on the Browns Report.